Hello and welcome to Dead Letter Movie Chat, episode 13, recorded November 23rd, 2014. I'm Tim.
I'm Andrew.
And we're going to talk tonight about the new Walt Disney Animation Studios movie Big Hero 6, based on the Marvel-published comic of the same name. So right off, this movie doesn't actually have a big all-star cast like so many other animated features have in the last several years, which actually I found rather refreshing. I didn't really know who most of the principal players were, but it did feature performances in somewhat smaller roles by notable figures such as James Cromwell, Alan Tudyk, and Maya Rudolph.
Mm-hmm. Alan Tudyk he's been in a fair amount of Disney things lately. He was in Wreck-It Ralph.
He's been keeping busy.
Yeah, he does a lot of voice work that no one really, that he doesn't sound like him usually, so you don't realize that he's in stuff, and it's pretty cool to see him in things. I like him.
Yeah.
Maya Rudolph may be a little underused in this movie for her talents, but it's still fun to see her in there. But so the overall, I'll do the plot this time. It'll be fun. Yeah. So the overall concept of the film is a boy, Hiro, and his brother. They live in San Francisco, which is a hodgepodge of San Francisco and Tokyo. I have been to one of those. I have not been to the other, but it's definitely a Tokyo version of San Francisco. More than it seems a Tokyo version of San Francisco. I mean, more than it seems the other way. Almost repeated myself there. Sorry, folks. But everything the whole thing is made into a very beautiful, very interesting looking thing. Anyway, so Hiro and his brother, they are into robotics and things like that. And of course, with the normal things that happens in Disney movies, within the first act, the older brother has to die because that's how we have the point of attack. So he dies, and then Hiro has to understand all these things about his brother and why his brother died, all these general mysteries, general call to action that happens in the average, superhero kind of thing, like the Joe Chill moment, if you will. And in his mourning, he discovers that what the robot that his brother had been working on is around. It is called Baymax and is voiced by Scott Adsit, who you would recognize from 30 Rock. He does a very different character here. There's sort of similar inflections, but not really, because he's a robot, but he's very lovable. Baymax is some kind of walking hospital robot that can diagnose you and figure out everything about you just by scanning you and what kind of therapy needs to be used. And so Hiro, with Baymax's help, also enlists friends from his brother's lab, for lack of a better word, to figure out what happened to lab, to figure out what's going on with his what is going on in San Francisco and what happened to his brother and all these other robotic plot twist things that I could tell you about, but that's not the reason why you're going to go see the movie. All in all, it's just a fun little superhero movie, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. I don't know, Tim, do you want to chime in? Something important I forgot?
No. That's a pretty good synopsis.
Yeah.
So, kudos, mate. No, I had a lot of fun watching this movie. I wasn't really surprised by anything in it.
No.
Except for James Cromwell, who I mentioned before.
Oh, God. I think we both spent the whole movie being like, who is this person?
Who is that guy?
Why do I know this voice?
So familiar, and had no idea until I saw his name in the credits.
And it sort of looks like him, so you even
a
feel
little bit
like even more dumb. And there's well.
But no, it's a colorful cast of characters. I don't know if it was this way in the comics, but in the movie at least they seem to have made a point of being diverse in their protagonists.
Yeah. That's not a bad. It may have been like that in the comic book actually, because that's also a thing that's played up a lot in comic books now. When you look at any
Yeah,
kind of big group,
yeah,
like
and this is
the
a
Teen Titans are kind of a thing that like that's a pretty good example. I don't know if there's really a good corollary between Big Hero 6 and the Teen Titans in any other regard, but yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
But the original concept by a sort of a think tank called Man of
and of
Action,
action,
which is a little pretentious, I think, but
yeah,
they've done some quality stuff. They've put together a lot of action superhero type cartoons for Cartoon Network, and apparently this was one of their efforts that got published in comic book form by Marvel. I don't know if they sold it or how that works, but Disney had the movie rights, so here we are.
hmm
Now I've seen episodes here and there of some of their stuff.
yeah. They
It's
did Ben 10, didn't they?
they did.
Yeah.
That's one of theirs. I've seen a couple of those. It's decent enough.
hmm
Which is kind of how I felt about this movie. Nothing really blew me away about it. Baymax was lovable and fun.
He pretty much steals the show.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much.
pretty much him. And another secondary character named Fred also does a pretty good job of taking some of the spotlight. But
Who is somewhere between Fred and Shaggy from Scooby Doo.
kind of, yes, kind of like if you put them together, it's the guy who does the voice of Tough Nut in the Dragon movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, so playing a somewhat similar character, but not really. Um,
A little
but
bit,
yes,
but
I
yeah.
believe you're totally correct in that it's a mixture of trap loving Fred and slacker Shaggy. Um, like that's a pretty good way to put it.
So yeah, all in all, I felt it was a fairly straightforward, by the numbers, kids action popcorn movie, which
Mhm.
isn't a bad thing. We need some of these now and then. But yeah, like I said, I didn't feel it really had anything that really made it stand out. Like I don't know how much I'm gonna think about this movie, a month from now, for
No,
instance. So
I did have that shower thought about the post credit scene, but oh yeah, there's the post credit scene. So
there
stay.
is.
Um, but yeah, that's probably about the extent of my deep thought about the film is going to go. I would totally tell you what the deep thought was, folks, but it would kind of spoil something, so
It
I'm
would.
not gonna.
No
Um,
spoilers. We're gonna try to avoid
we're
most of this
trying to
here.
avoid spoilers until we have like a thing on the bottom that says "Please stop watching" for about 2 minutes,
Ha ha.
until we get to that point. But yeah,
So uh, I'm gonna give this a flat B from me. Good, not great. Worth the time, but no hurry.
Mhm.
Catch it in a second run theater. Wait for it to show up on Netflix or rent it later.
Yeah, I would say it's so of course I kept comparing this to The Incredibles because that was the closest uh, facsimile kind of thing that I had to look at. And I don't know, I really shouldn't compare movies to other movies, but I am. So I feel like although this isn't as good as The Incredibles in terms of characterization, in terms of depth and emotion and all that stuff, I would or script, like basically like the script writing on The Incredibles is very much far superior. I would, however, say that this was probably just about as enjoyable. Now, I know that this sounds weird to say, but I mean, a movie can be better and as enjoyable as a lesser film, and a lesser film can be as enjoyable as a better film. Because these are enjoyment and quality are actually different things. I'll get the
Yeah.
like I can enjoy a cheeseburger to the same extent that I would enjoy a steak. They're different things, but I'm probably gonna have the same serotonin levels in my head.
Yeah.
Um,
There's some subjectivity there.
yeah, so I would say that this is as Incredibles, but not as good. So I'm going to be giving it a B plus
Okay.
for me.
Yeah.
I
That's
think
fair.
it's a film that should be seen in the theaters. However, I don't know. You got time to see other things probably. Good thing to do if you're not feeling great with your life or something. Like if you, it's a good pick me up movie. It's fun. It's a good relax and just watch a movie.
Yeah. So I think that about wraps us up. Uh, unless no, nothing
I
else.
got
All right. So short one this week, folks. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.